twitter.com/GuideUSTV. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/GuideUSTV1. Find us on Flickr, flickr.com/photos/GuideUSTV. And
all righty. Well, we got you out there, Richard, and I'm going to switch it over.
Get connected with.
There we go. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of our viewers. I wanted to let you know that we are going to have to make some adjustments on our timing because Isha comes in over here at exactly 6:30, and we don't want to miss our Isha prayers, our night prayers. And tonight we've got special guests with us. Tonight we have, to help us with the title of this whole thing, it's called Bible, Quran, or both. And in order to do that, we've got representatives here of different faiths. Actually, I used to be a Christian, now I'm a Muslim. I'm going to introduce you first of all to our brother Richard Kifer. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam. Wonderful to see you after last night not seeing you.
And Richard is a former Baptist minister, and now he is a Muslim as well.
Agreed.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about Bible and Quran tonight. And to help us do that, one more person that we've got with us, and you won't be able to see him tonight, but that's okay because whatever you don't get to see, you're going to be hearing him make up for that real quick because he is a good talker. And we're talking about, his name is Jerome. That's the name that he was born with, Jerome Clare. But now we call him Abu Hafsah. Assalamu alaikum, Abu Hafsah.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. What's up, Sheikh? What's going on?
Alhamdulillah. It's great to have you back on the air with us, man.
It's good to be back. I I keep going on hiatus and low hiatus, and here I am again. What is that?
Don't worry about it.
You gave me the hook already? You trying to play me out? You trying to give me some play out music like they do on the Oscars? Come on, man.
Everything is cool. Everything is cool.
It is cool. Alhamdulillah. Just came back from Morocco, and it's been fun. It's been fun.
Talking about cool, we were talking with our station manager on the air just a few minutes ago, and where he is up in Minnesota, I checked the weather there. It said it feels like 16 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit.
Oh, come on. Oh, well. I'm in Toronto. It's cold here, too.
Is it? What's the temperature there?
Come on over to Michigan. We were 50 today.
50? Oh, mashallah. We get that at night. We get in the low 50s over here at night in California. During the day, though, it
won't be 50 tomorrow.
Yeah, well, around here in the daytime, it can get up to 75, 80 easy, and sometimes even closer to 90. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. All right.
That sounds like an invitation to me. I think we should all head out from California.
I think you should too. We got plenty of space out here for you guys. There's tons of cactus out here, and yeah.
No.
And the
blind people and cacti do not mix.
Wait a minute. Is cactus the singular and cacti is the plural?
That's how it goes. Is that how it is? Oh man. Wait a minute. Maybe you're right. Maybe the cacti is the plural.
No. I was saying cacti.
It only takes one to ruin your day, though. That's for sure.
Yep, that's right. One of them sure can ruin. Only one to ruin a perfectly good day or a whole week, as far as that goes. All right.
You'll get your point real quick after one of them. That's all you need.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to get into our subject tonight, and
we can do this all night, Richard. This is how this kind of goes between me and him. It kind of works that way.
I'm holding up a picture right now of the Quran for everybody to see it, and it's got a cellophane cover on it, and it's reflecting my computer screen. But anyway, so this is the Quran al-Kareem, and the Quran. The word Quran is coming from qara'a, that's the root, and the root, it represents what is like today we have what's called the spoken word, and people will stand there and recite stuff and they call it the spoken word, etc. But the Quran is a recitation of words. That's what the word Quran means. And one who does it is a qari, a qari of the Quran is the reciter. And I'm going to go ahead and open up this cellophane off of it so people can see it a little bit better. And of course, that's a good idea for me to do that because I'm going to be opening it up later. And that's going to be kind of hard to do with that cellophane on there, isn't it? Here we go. Now you can see it a lot better. There, that is the Quran. And that's the Arabic word Quran, and then the word below it is Kareem, Quran, Kareem. Kareem usually can be translated as generous or a lot of words, okay? And just to give it a little sample of what's in it, now this one is color-coded and it has tabs on the side of the pages for you to be able to go through and quickly access what you're looking for. For instance, this one right here. Now this page, these two pages facing each other, you can see different colors in there, and that helps you to identify thoughts. In other words, you've got a paragraph that deals with something, then maybe another paragraph will change into another, blend into something else, and so this helps you stay focused on what's going on, as well as know where you are in the Quran. So that's, oh, hey, here's a free bookmark. Let me see what that says. I can't even, I think that says it in Arabic, so it won't matter. No, I think it's English. I can't tell. All right, anyway, so it's a bookmark. All right, now, Abu Hafsah, you just came back from somewhere. Tell us all about that. Tell us about that.
I was, for a little while, I was over in Morocco for the past 4 months or so, give or take. Just kind of on a bit of a hiatus. I wanted to go and just refresh my own Quran studies and recitation a bit better, memorization a bit better. As you know, being up and down the road like this can be very, very taxing, and it can just take a toll on you. So I wanted to just go and refresh my own self because, you know, someone cannot give what they don't have. So I went over there to do that for a little while, and now I'm back in the saddle, I guess, again. Alhamdulillah.
Back in the saddle again. Out where
That's
a
it.
friend is a friend.
Without the cactus in the saddle. I don't want any cactuses in my saddle, but yeah, here we are again. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Let's put Richard up here. Richard, salam alaikum. Get you in on this deal here.
I'm just trying to picture a brother there on a saddle, on horseback in downtown Toronto, and I'm having a rough time putting that together.
Oh, that's actually easier than you might think, because we have the mounted police that do that quite regularly. So there's only a few people doing that up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. There you go.
That's right.
We got some of them horses, I think, still.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some downtown horses with the police down here, but that's not too often. We definitely don't have any civilians running around with horses.
No.
Yeah. Richard, I wanted to request you to, I know you always keep a Bible laying around there somewhere, so I'd like to request that you would give us the picture of the Bible. You can hold up the Bible and tell us a little bit about that particular version of the Bible that you got there. So
Just a second here. Cut me.
I caught you off guard. All right. That's all right.
I've got probably like 40 Bibles in the house. Now, where's the one I keep here by me?
Yeah.
Well, here we go. There we go. I'm sorry. Kind of rearrange things and I forget. This is the Scofield Reference Bible. This is the Bible that was edited by Dr. C.I. Scofield. And the type of Christianity that I grew up in, we were always told to use this as the King James Version. with a lot of footnotes and parallel verses and a lot of that kind of thing to reinforce a very dispensationalism format of the Bible that that they believed at that point. So we that was kind of the way we did things.
All
So
right.
God worked at different times with different people in different places in different ways, and Dr. Schofield kind of trumpeted that whole concept.
Okay. Now we're at this stage. We've really got three of us are all converts to Islam. I'm coming from the musical side of the Christianity to some extent, anyway, and maybe I'm not the best in the music department, but that is what I used to do. And now I'm going to refer back over to brother. I'm going to try to move this up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, this is Brother Abu Hafsah, and he is well known for his efforts in memorizing so many things, because it's not just the Quran that he has to memorize. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself a little bit more to our audience, and also so that they can have an idea what it's like maybe to approach life from a different perspective. Go ahead, take it.
Well, I mean, those who remember me from the channel before have heard this already, and those who might be new, I was born without my eyesight. So totally blind isn't a word that's bad. For me, I don't mind that word at all. I was born that way. And I grew up, I guess, I don't know if I was nominally Christian or not. I don't think I believed that. I always believed in God, but I never really took Christianity too seriously. I respected them to a certain degree, but I always thought that turn the other cheek was a good way to get slapped twice, and I really didn't want to deal with any of that. So I just thought I just didn't like the idea of worshiping people or calling on people. No matter how it was explained to me, it was always, at the end of the day, Jesus, alayhi salam, who I revered and respected and loved, is a person. And I couldn't get past that as a kid. I just did not embrace that whole concept. So rather than search, I just said, okay, well, if God wants me to do something, then he knows where I am, because I certainly don't know where he is at the moment. So we're just going to wait. And then, of course, around 1992, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I was fascinated by that. Malik Shabazz, rahmatullah alayhi, may Allah give him Jannah. And his whole explanation of Islam was to believe in one God, and I already had believed in that. That's what I believed in for the most part of my whole life. And of course, all the prophets from Adam until the last and final one, Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, from Arabia, peace and blessings be upon him, and them all. I liked that concept because, of course, Jesus was included in that. And again, I loved Jesus and revered him and respected him. I just didn't worship him. So anything that didn't involve Jesus wasn't really going to float with me. As well, Moses, David, Solomon, Abraham, and of course the stories changed, and we're going to get into that. I'm sure later on. But their life stories changed drastically from the Bible to the Quran. The Quran has them as they should be, in a revered status, whereas the Bible has them less than that. In some cases, a lot less than that. I liked the Quranic version better than because it made sense that prophets who were sent by God would be godly. They wouldn't be stealing people's wives, and they wouldn't be stealing people's properties and getting drunk and naked with their children and all these different things that the Bible accuses them of. And I liked that, of course. And then on July the 3rd, 1996, I entered Islam. I said my shahada, shahadu la ilaha illallah, shahadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Allahu Akbar.
24 years later, we're still here, Sheikh.
Yes, we are, and we're loving every minute of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's turn now to Richard. And Richard, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Give us.
I'm going to find my way to Toronto. I got to sit down and have lunch with this brother.
I Chicago next weekend. You want to come down there? I'll be there.
Oh my goodness, you Yeah, I think you and I can see eye to eye on an awful lot of things, and
That's a great pun. I love it. That's so great. That's such a great. Nicely done. Very nicely done. I like it. I like it. He's a great
yeah,
pupil for that.
yeah. Thank you, thank you.
What we'd like to do at this stage of the game is to perhaps give our audience some kind of an idea about the subject. Now we're talking about, we referred to the Quran, we referred to the Bible, but I think that possibly Richard is one of the people who we'd really most like to have talk about this due to the fact that he has spent his life with that Bible and working out of that, and he has a lot of reference material. So I'm going to kind of turn it to you, and we're going to fire some questions at you and see what you can come up with on it. How's that sound?
All right, I'll give it my best shot. What kind of answers do you want? Do you want the traditional answers, or do you want my updated versions?
Well, I now that's a good question. That is a very relevant question, and it opens up a whole another topic for another night possibly. Is what the Bible says, and then what some people say it says. In other words, their interpretation. But for tonight, we'll kind of refer to what we want in the questions, I think, myself and Abu Hafsah. By the way, Abu Hafsah, how does that sound to you?
That's great. I like both. I want to be around for both of those. We could call the second one Richard, before and after.
There you go.
That can be the second one.
All right.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. It should be interesting, inshallah. I'm inching.
All right. Let's go to Richard. For some reason, you're not popping up on the screen. I don't know what's going on there with that. Let me see. Richard's not there. Richard.
Oh wow! Did we lose him?
Yeah, we lost him. Yeah, it's just showing us.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I
don't know.
If our station manager is watching, I hope he can give Richard a call and see what can be done.
Fix it.
Fix it. There we go.
Bring back Richard. Everybody, bring back
Richard. Bring back Richard. I don't know if that's gonna help.
We need a Bible guy. There he is. That's mashallah. Where's the Bible guy? We need help with the Bible here.
Yeah.
I'm not a Bible guy, that's for sure.
Well, I think we're going to have our work cut out for us tonight. If you're ready, I'm ready to tie into it, though. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay, so these are some of the questions that we have concerning the Bible. Now, concerning the Bible, so there are passages throughout the Bible that refer to events that have taken place, events taking place at the time of the writing, and then events that are supposed to take place in the future, or what's called prophecies. And if anybody is familiar with the Bible, they know that there are a lot of prophecies that appear to have come true. But one of the things that the detractors of the Bible have to offer is that they say, well, because these things were written after the fact, and then...
Hey, Richard's back.
Yes, I see that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know what happened. It just kind of disconnected, and... okay, we're back.
All right. Well, we can switch over to you. We were talking just a minute ago about the Bible has referred to things that have been in the past, things that are currently at the time of the writing, and then things that happen in the future. But some of the detractors of the Bible have offered that the Bible, actually parts of it were rewritten after facts took place, and that it was simply managing to make it look like it was prophecy. Like if I prophesy today, it's pretty easy to prophesy the outcome of the Chiefs and the 49ers last night.
Wasn't that something? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, but if I backdate the date on that thing and say I published it last month, Oh, wow, man, this guy's the guy we want to. He's the go-to guy for knowing where to place your bets for the. Well, we don't bet, so let's get off of that now. Richard, what I wanted to refer to on this is you you have information about that. You've probably encountered these different folks who will say things like that about the Bible. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Not only that, there are those that will say that the stories of the Bible are just parallels to, you know, even legendary kind of people who claimed, religious powers and walked on water and healed sick and did all those kinds of things. Um, the atheists are quick to look at a man named Horace, um, who was written 5,000 years ago, who was born of a virgin. His birthday is December 25th. There are three wise men that came to, he was born. He was taken to Egypt, taught in the temple, baptized by a guy, somebody else, the
Wait a minute.
baptizer.
Baptized?
Huh?
He was baptized?
Baptized by Enoch
Whoa.
the baptizer when he was 30.
When he was 30. Whoa.
Yeah.
They did mine when I was about 4 or 5 days old. I think that's when I got mine then.
Yeah, I did both. I just want to make sure I hedge my bets.
Wow.
But he was supposedly raised from the dead, transfigured on the mount. His titles included, he was called the Way, the Truth, the Light. He was called the Messiah. And so, atheists will go, hey, your stories of this miraculous virgin-born, supposed Son of God, that's just redoing old history. They look back at a guy named Mithras, kind of the same kind of thing. He was born of a virgin, considered great, and
on the 25th, now Mithras, I heard that he was supposedly also born on that 25th of December.
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know. Obviously, because of things that we know now today, Jesus alayhi salam was not born in December. That just was not happening. That was just a date that they landed on to begin to honor that birth because of some time that they had freed. And these old guys, thousands of years before Christ, were kind of telling the same kind of story. And so it's easy to say, well, it's just been passed along. And that's what we used to hear about the Quran all the time. That's just plagiarization of the Bible.
Well, yeah. Have you heard about stuff like that too, Abu Hafsah? Abu Hafsah, are you still with us? Okay, now we lost Abu Hafsah. All right.
There's something about. He's back.
Nope, you didn't lose me. I'm here.
Okay.
Just drop the headset. I got a charger.
Oh, okay.
We're back.
Yeah. What our brother Richard was just telling us about the atheists who, whenever they're confronted with anything about the Bible, that they're quick to jump onto this subject of, the thing about, I don't know if you heard him or not, but he was
Mithras and
Mithras. Okay, you heard all of that. What's your take on that?
Well, this is what happens. It tends to be even the Quran talks about that. When the disbelievers deny signs of Allah, they just say stories of people of old, and that, we have the same story in the Quran about Jesus being born of a virgin and being miraculous. So we know that it's nothing to do with Mithras or anyone else. I think they also refer to that as the origins of Christmas because of the dates involved. I think they speak that way. I don't know if Richard probably knows more about that than I do.
Boy, I a little bit. You know, I just enjoy getting up on Christmas morning and getting the toys.
That's all I did too. I wasn't really into everything else.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, even back in the old days, I mean, they didn't have Christmas trees and that kind of thing. Somebody came along the way and they were celebrating Christmas, and they thought they would just spruce things up a little bit with adding a tree.
That's painful.
Isn't that painful?
Yep.
That's painful too. Painful. Yeah.
I loved it when I found out that Santa Claus was actually my mom. She was actually the one bringing all the toys. I didn't realize that till later on. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, my brother revealed that to me. He took me into the hiding place and showed me all the Christmas presents.
Oh wow.
Yeah, what a Scrooge.
You know,
that's where a lot of the times that they say that this is where it came from, the Romans, and I mean it may very well have some correlation to that in that regard, but we still have the same stories in the Quran that Jesus was actually born of a virgin and was miraculous in his conception and his birth.
Yeah.
As for Mithras and all of that, well, that's their deal, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that got different is as we look at the Bible, and it's in a consistent, my goodness, manner of presenting the prophecy fulfilled with that of Christ represented to Christians as the Son of God, the second person of the Trinity, and obviously the Quran comes along and just says, no, this is the way it's supposed to be, this is the way it was, which makes so much sense. So I understand that. I am also mindful of even the prophecies that Christians link to try to portray Christ as God. It's kind of a stretch to do that. I got this. I'll hold this thing up. This is older than both of us put together. But this is a thing called a study of prophecy, and you can see the prophecies written and the prophecies fulfilled.
Yeah, hold it real still. Hold it still.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. There you go.
All right.
And it's just a portrayal of the prophecy of the resurrection, the prophecy of his ascension, the prophecy of his death and crucifixion, and a lot of it taken out of Isaiah, where it doesn't speak any specifically about a specific person at all. But they go, well, logically, it has to be Jesus. Alayhi salam.
Well, let's pick up on that when we return. We've got to take this short break, guys, and then we'll be right back, guys. Just stand by for a second, actually a few minutes, and then we'll take this break and tell everybody about our 10 years of broadcasting and how we want to keep it going and growing.
Can you imagine? It's our 10th anniversary. Guide Us TV on the air for 10 years already. Wow. And we want to keep going and growing. And how you can do that, join us. Be part of what we are doing with Recite on TV, Bridge to Faith, Simple Reminders with Abu Hafsah, all of these great programs and more coming to you 24 hours a day. No commercials, no advertising. Just pure Islam with Quran every hour, with reminders throughout the day what the Hadith teaches. These programs are the only collection coming to us here in America from America, and you can be part of it. Guide US TV. Keep it on. Keep it going. Keep it growing. Stay guided with Guide Us TV.
Bingo. We're back, and Richard, you got the stage right there. Go ahead.
All right. Well, we were just talking about a lot of the prophecies about the resurrection, prophecies about his death and crucifixion, and the whole concept of Jesus being the fulfillment of all the Old Testament prophecies. And out of that is the development of a whole plethora of doctrines that can really kind of put Christianity in a strange light. For example, they talk, in Isaiah 53, surely he had borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, and the chastisement of our peace was upon him. And with his stripes we are healed. And just that very line itself, the prophecies will go, well, the prophets will go, that was Jesus. And when he died, we're healed. And all of a sudden you've got a little health and wealth development based on, again, a stretch of some Old Testament words that didn't mean some of that at all. All of a sudden you've got people believing I'm healed. Jesus died so I can be well.
Okay, well,
And,
I think that's a good that might be a good topic for us to kind of pick up with that. What does what about these people? Somebody can tell you, and by the way, I have also seen some of these so-called healings myself. I've been present when that happened, and they were talking about things in the Bible, and they said this and that, and it's laying on hands, and the next thing you know, somebody's saying I'm healed, and they're walking, and they couldn't walk before, etc., or they were sick, and then they said they're well, and so on. Uh, what about this? We're going to ask Abu Hafsah. Have you had any experience or heard about this kind of thing, Abu Hafsah?
Well, you always hear about that. I never really witnessed anything like that before. There were people who come around and they have people who are in wheelchairs, and then they stand up and get healed, and then the next town that guy does the walker thing instead of the wheelchair thing. I mean, you hear about that too. I've never actually heard about it really being done though. I mean, Allah knows best, and if He chooses to heal someone, He certainly can. There's no doubt about that. If Allah wants to heal someone miraculously, He can, and we've heard reports of that as well.
Well,
People have been at Hajj and have gotten healed,
yeah.
and so on and so forth.
One of the things that I'd like to bring up is that yes, we do, as Muslims, we do totally believe that Almighty God is able to heal whoever He wants, whenever He wants.
Sure.
But at the same time, I think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but Almighty Allah can let us see something from the Quran or the Bible that, or from a prophet that gives us an opportunity to have more faith in God, because after all, He could just make us well from the very beginning, right?
But yeah, this is the thing, and then these are tests that we've been given. Allah said, "الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا." That Allah has created life and death to test which of you are best in amal, best in deed. So there are certain things that we could have all been perfect from the beginning, but then what would be the idea of someone ending up in paradise or not? The whole idea that we're tested by God in this life, and we build with this life to build our next one, inshallah. And if we're all perfect, how can we help each other? How can we actually help each other grow? And this another reason why we're here is to help each other understand things and to behave towards each other. If there's no rich people, if we're all wealthy, then how can we help the poor? In that regard, how can we get closer to Allah in that way?
Also, correct me if I'm wrong. You've just been in. Spent some time over in Morocco, where a lot of Muslims and scholars are. Is that true?
I was there for about 4 months. Not a significant amount of time. It was 4 months, isn't that long, but that's when I was over there.
For me, that's a long time, because I get to stay in a place 1 day or 2 days or half a day, or so. And 4 months to me is a very long time.
Yeah.
So, when you were there, did you experience or hear from folks there talking about any kind of we call it mu'ajiza in the Arabic language, miracles, anything like that? What did you see?
No, I mean, I kind of kept my head down and just focused on Baqarah the whole time. I didn't really branch out too much because I was
Tell
there for a
everybody
purpose.
what Baqarah is. What is
Oh,
Baqarah?
it's the longest chapter in the Quran. It has the longest surah. It has about 286 verses in it, and I managed to memorize about 210 of those when I was over there.
Okay, I was hoping you'd kind of key in on this, but I'll set it up for you. Because you just memorized Baqarah, I was hoping you'd jump on this, but
Most
yeah, even the prophet Ibrahim, or Abraham as we call him in English, he had something with his his faith, and he looked at the sun, he looked at the moon, he looked at the stars, and he determined that those were not his God, and that he needed to. He said, "I won't be guided if God doesn't guide me," and that was pretty cool. But then later we find that he's saying something about he wants God to show him something, and God's telling him, "Where's your faith at?" And he said, "No, no, it just." And what Almighty Allah is telling him to take some birds like pigeons, carrier pigeons, or doves, something like this, train them, and then get them accustomed to you. Then cut them up and put these pieces of them in different mountains, and then call them back to you, and they'll all come back. And they did. You remember that one?
Yeah, I do remember that. That's the story. He asked Allah. He said, show me, like, how do you do that? How do you give life to what's dead? And Allah asked him, don't you believe? Rhetorically, Allah asked him, don't you believe? And he said, yes, but I want my heart to be like sound or I guess secure in it. He wants to have more surety, I guess if you want to say it that way. So then Allah told him to do that. Take those birds and cut them up and bring them back. Well, call them back to you, and he got them sent back to him.
So in this case, I think there's an argument in favor of the healings of different things, or miracles of different types, are set there to increase our understanding and our love and our commitment to Almighty God. Isn't that how you see that, or am I missing something?
Absolutely, no, absolutely. It's something that science or humans cannot explain. It's something that the Quran itself is a miracle. In and of itself, it's actually a miracle.
There we go.
And it was the greatest miracle revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. Is that Quran, and that the fact of it. And I think this is why the Bible oftentimes gets misinterpreted so badly by people, is that the language isn't there anymore. Whereas when we have the Quran, when I say that I memorize, and there are brothers who memorize a lot more than me, but when I say that I memorize the first 200 verses from chapter number 2, it's in its original language. It's not in English. It's in its. I mean, we did go over the meaning, so I'm not just reciting things that I don't understand what they mean. But this is an original. The original dialect or the original language of the Quran is still preserved as it was 1400 years ago, and the original book is still preserved as it was 1400 years ago, whether it be in the Mus'haf that we read with our hands, whether it be in the hearts of people, whether it be with Allah Himself, or whether it be what's recited out of the mouths of the people. Yes. But this is the Quran.
Yeah. Now we're talking about healings. We're talking about miracles. We're talking about things that cannot be explained other than going with what we're saying here. Now, I want to check back with Richard Kifer, and if you don't mind, just tell us what your experience is. You've seen these kinds of things. You've been around that. What is your take on it?
Skeptical. Very, very skeptical. I spent some time in my Christian world in the Pentecostal denomination, and we had healings all over the place, but it was healings of it's almost like mass hypnosis, mass something, where you're charged with emotion. You've sung a lot of songs, and the adrenaline starts to flow, and by golly, that backache just goes away, and you walk up to the front and tell them your backache's better, and you are healed. And then he played the organ a little louder and very excited. And actually, some of these guys, these faith healers, have little shyster tricks. They'll often say, well, the problem with your back is your one leg is longer than the other. And there's a way that you can do the thing.
I have seen that. I've seen that.
Have you
My
seen it?
father used to do that. He would have people put their leg up, and he'd say, "Oh, this one's longer than the other." He would massage their leg, and it would be the same length, and then they would say that they felt better. And then he told me
Yeah.
himself. He said that I'm not doing anything miracle. They're just making them better balance when they're walking.
That's how it works.
Well, yeah. Well, in these TV days, I mean, they put the camera right up to these people's feet, but the healer is kind of slick, and when he's first pulling the legs up and putting them onto into his hands, he is slipping one of the shoes just a little longer. He kind of pulls it out a little bit, and so when he starts to go, you're healed, you're healed, you're healed, he starts to slip that, the other one back in, and it's kind of like a play, a trick you play on your eyes. It looks like the leg is actually growing, but it's not. And then of course there's a whole bunch of folks who are faith healers through an earpiece in their ear, and someone backstage who has already scouted out the audience. And so the healer calls out, "Oh man, there's a woman here. You woke up this morning and your elbow was hurting, and your name. Let's see. Your name is Martha. Martha, some Martha in the room here with your elbow hurting." Well, what they've done is they have cased the room, cased the foyer as people are coming in, under the guise of just saying, "We're just taking cards and information so we can have prayer requests, and we'll be praying for you." And the thing is, the guy is slipping in the back, and he's taking Martha's card, going, "She's got a bad elbow. Also, she's in a purple dress sitting in row 3, seat 16. And so all of a sudden, this guy is starting to not only try to validate his healing power, but he's doing that based on he's like he has the power to even see where you're at. And all of a sudden, someone calls on you, and he's, my goodness, this guy knows my name. He knows my elbow's sore. He knows my dog's name. He knows I'm from Toronto, and all of a sudden, it's like, wow, that adrenaline thing hits, and you're up and walking, and your elbow doesn't hurt, and everything's good. And then as the adrenaline starts, I mean, we've heard stories of adrenaline taking over a man's body or even a woman's body in a very crisis situation, lifting cars, lifting heavy objects to save a life. And that's the power of that adrenaline surge. And that same thing happens, and it's just fraud. The old saying is, because these people don't just pray as like, they're going to pray for you to see if God does something. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they're saying, no, I'm a healer. I have the gift. I have the gift of healing. And but that gift only seems to surface in large arenas where they can take big offerings. Kind of interesting how that happens.
Yeah, Abu Hafsah, what do you got on that one?
That sounds a lot like the professional wrestling industry that I was briefly a part of at one point. Yeah, it sounds a lot like that, where it's called a work.
Tell us about there were some faith healers that were going to cure your eyes. You remember that one?
Oh, that was, I didn't even think about that. That was, I remember I was in high school, and I came in with a bunch of friends of mine to this fire hall. It used to be a place where they would let the kids play basketball, and they would let them do all this stuff under the guise of having fun, and then invite them to Christianity, invite them to be saved, as it were. so I just went there with a bunch of my friends, and then this guy was there, and he sent this lady out to me, and she said he wants to heal you, and I didn't have nothing to do, so I'm like, all right, why not? Let me go to see what's gonna happen, because I didn't. Like I said, I believed in God, but I never believed in any of this stuff. So I go back into the little room where he is, and he's like foaming at the mouth, and he's acting up, and he's doing all these different incantations and speaking in tongues and whatever else he's doing. And I'm just smiling at him because I'm like, I don't know what this guy is on, but I want some. So he puts his hands over my eyes, and you know how much I hate it when people touch my face. I don't like it at all. You know that. I don't like it. So he does that, and I let him go because it's interesting. It's entertaining to me. I want to see where this is going to lead to. So he takes his hands away, and he goes, now he's not speaking in tongues anymore. And he goes, can you see? And I was like, no. I just smiled at him again. And he said, well, are your eyes healed? And I took them out. Because they're not. I took them out. They're not real. And he took like 3 steps back, and I think that was the end of his healing career because everybody kind of left the room at that point. That was it. That was show's over.
Man, all right. When you took your eyes out, tell everybody about those eyes that you have.
No, they're not real. They're prosthetics. I was born without my eyes, so I don't have any actual eyes. And these ones were prosthetics, and they're pretty. I like them. But yeah, so I took him out, and he just took about 3 steps back away from me, and I thought I had to heal him after that because he was pretty scared.
Oh my God! Oh,
that was it for his career. He went back to selling postage stamps or whatever he was doing before.
Oh, that's cold. That's cold. Back to you, Richard. Let's pick up.
I would give anything to have been there and watched that.
It was great. So would I. I'd like to see it too.
All of us.
Yeah.
He botched the deal. I couldn't see afterwards.
Oh man. I bet he didn't see that coming.
I guess he didn't. He had some pretty girls with him. They all walked out, so I think he might have did it for them, and then they kind of left. So
okay.
He was by himself after that.
Well, yeah, and this thing about healing and using the Bible or any kind of religion, let's just be general about this. There are other faiths out there besides Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. There are some very large faiths of Hindus and Buddhists. There are many the people who adhere to agnosticism, and then there are those who have faith in their scientists, and they're called atheists. And yet, whenever something happens that's out of the norm, there's a group of people that want to try to explain it from a scientific point, and they get to a level that they will say, well, finally, yeah, we don't know, but we're working on that. We've got some new things. We're going to take it back to the drawing board, but we're confident that we're going to find out, blah, blah, blah. So their explanation is either we already know or we're going to know. And, what about these things that are happening? And I'm talking about not just the Bible, not just the Quran, but in general, when people say that there's a healing or a wellness that came about, or some amazing thing happened that you can't explain. Somebody fell out of an airplane during World War II, by the way, and he was flying over Germany, and he didn't die. He fell out of his airplane, but he didn't die. You know why? He landed on a haystack. I don't think he felt very good for a while, but he did survive. So all of a sudden, this is a chance for somebody to say, oh, well, he had the protection of Almighty God, and I believe he did. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that God already wrote for them to die on that day, and then they could have just slipped on a banana peel. Is that right, Richard?
Well, that's such an interesting concept. I mean, you can manufacture a miracle almost out of anything. lots of unexplainable things happen in this world. Um, and, let me give you an example here. I believe what happened to me in a situation was of God, but it was still kind of a, wow, I wondered how this happened. I was on the freeway here in Detroit, and I was heading down to the Cobo Arena. We were going to do a concert for a Christian Sunday school convention, and I had a station wagon full of sound equipment, enough to link into the Cobo Arena system and produce sound for a big arena. And I had my wife and my 3 kids in the back seat, and then the rest of the station wagon was full of very heavy equipment. If you come down the Lodge Freeway into Detroit, it curls under the Cobo Arena and comes up onto Jefferson Avenue, and there are stoplights there. And as I'm kind of coming through that area, I start to push on my brake, and there are no brakes. I'm pushing, and nothing is happening.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, if I hit something, all this equipment's going to inertia frontwards and do all kinds of damage. And I stepped on the brakes, and all of a sudden I'm coming up onto Jefferson Avenue, and there's a stoplight, and by golly, it's red, and there's cars in all the lanes, and I'm coming up, I'm ready to slam into the back of a car in the right-hand lane. And at the last minute, I said, my mind, I didn't say anything, it happened so quick, but my mind said, I'm going to push off to the right and kind of bank off the wall, that's there, and slide in between the car. Maybe I'll do less damage that way. There was no logic to that. It was just kind of an instantaneous something that happened. And I had a big old boxy Ford station wagon. I mean, it was a big thing. And the amount of space between the car that was in front of me and the wall was, maybe 3 feet, 4 feet at the most. And my old big station wagon was going to go slamming into something of each. And for a split second, and I can't even explain how, it was just like time just kind of disappeared. And I came through that whole space onto Jefferson Avenue, didn't touch the wall, did not touch the car, and the brakes engaged. And I can't explain how that happened. My car should have scraped both of them. We just got out the other side, and all of a sudden, then the brakes hit. From my perspective, God was watching over me.
All right.
To,
now you just did
to an atheist?
Yeah. There. Exactly. This is what we want to talk about when we continue tomorrow. We're out of time, but I want to pick back up with this. First of all, let me run over here to Abu Hafsah. Assalamu alaikum, Abu Hafsah. We got to wrap it up tonight, but
Sure.
What do you think we pick it up tomorrow talking about faith healings?
I'll be here.
All right,
Inshallah.
that's it. That's
The good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I'll be here.
Yes, sir. And Richard, what about you? You want to pick it up with that?
Yeah. I don't live near a creek though, so I'm not concerned. The creek can rise, and I'll
Up
still
the
be here.
creek and okay.
I live in a high rise. Okay.
All right. Well, we got to wrap it up, guys. This has been a great. It just seems like a few minutes. A great 10 years that we've been on the air, guys, and we want to do another 10 years. So if you'll help us, donate for Islam.com. Keep us going and keep us growing. Until next time, may the good Lord take a liking to you. Fi aman Allah. Salam alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Can you imagine? It's our 10th anniversary. Guide Us TV on the air for 10 years already. Wow. And we want to keep going and growing. And how you can do that? Join us. Be part of what we are doing with Recite on TV, Bridge to Faith, Simple Reminders with Abu Hafsah, all of these great programs and more coming to you 24 hours a day, No commercials, no advertising, just pure Islam with Quran every hour, with reminders throughout the day what the Hadith teaches. These programs are the only collection coming to us here in America from America, and you can be part of it. Guide US TV. Keep it on. Keep it going. Keep it growing. Stay guided with Guidance TV.